Adaptation to change, better labour markets, decent work. This new research, conducted jointly by Ciett and the Boston Consulting Group, demonstrates once again the positive role private employment services play in the labour market and towards economic growth.
The Boston report actually says it all. I think it's one of the clearest, most compelling arguments that I've seen in 25, 26 years in the industry that says, here are the facts. We can prove that this is good for economies, good for competitiveness, good for productivity, and good for putting people into jobs.
We've wanted to make sure that it portrays the reality of our business today. It also feeds into the discussion around what work is today and what it should be.
The recent report by the Boston Consulting Group really affirms everything that we've been saying about this industry and everything we know to be true.
Whether governments, trade unions, companies, social NGOs, to try to explain and to educate these people about the reality of the industry, the positive role it plays in better functioning labour markets, and the fact that we deliver decent work at the end of the day.
Our world is changing. That's one thing we'll always be able to count on, and it's changing at an ever-increasing pace.
It's not only, let's say, delivering people, but it is strategically helping clients to survive.
Over the last 2 years, we've seen huge structural changes in the way that economies work, in the way that labour markets work.
Our customers are facing seasonality. Our customers are facing new product development, new product launches, and we are there to help them to cope with this huge variation of activity.
We absolutely play a structural role to creating employment, helping companies, being flexible, because if companies aren't flexible these days, they will just lose it.
The sort of stability of the labor market that we used to have is definitely over. If you look at globalization of companies and therefore jobs, if you look at sort of the skill sets that are totally different that we need today from what we needed 10 years ago. It's not a question of more or less regulation, but it's a question of the right and the relevant regulation.
We have to work on quality standards. We have to work together with stakeholders on better control and enforcement. We have to work on smart regulation.
We think in Japan too, we need relevant regulations.
And we could play a better role also in the future. You see shortages in the future, you see surpluses in the future, and we can help to solve that mismatch in the labor market.
One thing that private employment agencies do specifically well is to get people into their first job, get them retrained and get them into other jobs, and provide a fundamental change process for an individual's interaction with the job market. I think that's one of the biggest things that we do. We don't just put people to work, we put tens of millions of people to work every year.
For candidates and employees, working with and for a staffing firm really provides an opportunity that you can't find anywhere else.
What we make possible is also to find the real balance between private life and work.
For a company it will enhance competitiveness. And for the worker, it's just a great job he or she is looking for.
About opportunities, it's about providing stepping stones into the jobs market through temporary staffing. If they weren't working through agencies, they would probably not be working.
We provide a bridge between the people who are unemployable, who haven't had a first-time job, enable them to get job experience, to build confidence, to grow skills, and eventually move into a position where they can go into permanent employment.
Some people in the labour market are not looking for a permanent contract, at least right now in their professional life. They want to work in a more flexible way, they want to work part-time, they want to work 3 months and then go on holidays, and this is exactly what we offer as an industry, is some other alternatives to work in the labour market, to enter the labour market, to move upwards in the labour market. So this is more really increasing the freedom of choice of people.
What you're doing is actually finding work for people and taking care that they are able to make a career. That is, what can you do better? It's so nice.